everyone, and welcome back to Tamala and Taylor's Treat Talk Tuesday, where we talk about treats, business, and life. And next up, we have a wonderful interview with Porsha Kimble. You may remember her as the Cake Diva. So recently, she has rebranded herself with her actual name. And instead of Cake Diva, she's now Porsha Kimble. We interviewed Porsha early in our career as podcasters. And even though she had a huge following and she's been on national and international stages, she came and helped and interviewed with Taylor and myself. I guess I should introduce myself. Hi, I am Tamala. I'm the half of or 50% of Tamala and Taylor's Treat Talk Tuesday. I am a business owner, and my company name is Torlitas for that sweet and crunchy taste. Torlitas is a dessert company located right here in this great state of Ohio, where I specialize in salty, sweet treats. If you want to know more about me and my business, please go to at Torlitas. That's T as in Tuesday, Orlitas. And I'm going to introduce my co-host, Taylor.
Hello, guys. I'm Taylor with Taylor's Kitchen, located right here in Albion, Michigan, where we make custom treats for your special occasion. It is such a great pleasure to be here on this week with Tamla. We're going to be talking about treats, business, and life from these episodes. And so let's get into it.
Excellent. So we're going to be talking again about our interview with Porsha Kimble. Porsha, if you don't know, she was on the national stage and on national TV on a cable station under, I believe, the moniker of Cake Wars. And she's a wonderful treat maker and just an all around great person. So, Taylor, I'm going to ask you, what did you take away from our interview when it pertains to her treat making?
Her cakes are awesome. Also, that her products, the way that she is rebranding herself and launching her products shows a big, I'm not going to say improvement because she was pretty much awesome to me the whole time, but it just shows how you can reinvent yourself. You don't have to be stuck in the same place. You can start over, you can do new things, and you can be successful at them. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So her treats are just thebomb.com. I mean, if you go to her page at Porsha Kimble on Instagram, you'll see for yourself that she's very creative, the way that she decorates her cakes, as well as decorate her other treats that she makes, her color combinations, her mixes, and her toppings. And I love that ice malt thing that she does, and she helps shape it. Looks like glass almost. Do you know what that is, Taylor? It's
Oh,
ice
the
malt.
rice paper sales.
Yes, yes. I mean, those are very, very nice and creative. And she just has so much that she offers. She's not stingy about how she shares her vendors and things like that. Not only that, what I like about her treat making is that she is very creative. Everybody's creative, but she has a little bit of something extra in her creativity, and that's what I like about her treat making.
I also like that she had just came out with a new product and I cannot wait to try it. I am
Mhm.
super excited about it. And
You
so,
want to talk about that business portion? You want to go into that the business side of that?
oh, yeah. So we had mentioned a couple things about her that she has done, that she has posted on her social media page about her doing things such as like rebranding and coming out with new products. And so as far as business, I think that is great for her. I think it is awesome that she has took the time to really focus on what she wants to do and the path that she wants to take in her business. I've heard often that you need to have a clear vision of what you want to do and the goals that you want to accomplish. And so I think that she has taken that to heart and she's running with it. So
I agree. That business portion of the interview that we did, although it's not mentioned in the interview we have today, but she has those elixirs that is going gangbusters. And those elixirs are things that you can add to your cupcakes and your cakes and all that. And she has different flavors. So be sure to check her out. I'm pretty sure. And let her know that Tamlin Taylor Treat Talk Tuesday sent you. Okay. So we would love to hear that feedback from her. What about the life portion that she shared? She said some really interesting things. What was your takeaway?
Um, One of the most important things is that I have seen her take a vacation. And talk about how um she she needs to have, like that balance in life that everybody should have. You have to have a work life balance. It could be like it could be definitely overwhelming if you're always producing, always trying to uh do things constantly for your business in life. Everything needs to have a moderation. And so that's one thing that I've seen as far as her is that her life portion is that she is balancing well. She has gotten rid of some things in her life and she has incorporated new things that is helping her be successful. So
Yes, she has, and she's continuing to do that. I know she has some wonderful conferences that are all over in Vegas. Some are in, I think, Florida, and just so many different places that she's creating a space for people that look like you and I. And even though she's a Spanish background, she still wants to make it available for people of color to come, learn, and share. So be sure to check out everything that Porsha Kimble has available to you. And the other part I want to say about her life is that she really shared some really um, not so bright moment in her life that she had to come clean, and I mean clean about. And I just want, and it was a good message because just because you're down in the dirt doesn't mean that you can not come up clean and make a better life for yourself. So check it out. Comment below if you know what I'm talking about after you watch the video or the interview, and give us a shout out and give her a shout out too. So enjoy.
Hi. How's everyone? Hello. Hi, I am. Welcome to Tamlin Taylor's Treat Talk Tuesday, where we discuss everything about treats, business, and life. And I am Tamala. I am owner of Torlitas for that sweet and crunchy taste. Torlitas is a dessert company located right here in the state of Ohio, where we specialize in salty, sweet treats. If you want to know more about me and my business, go to @Torlitas. That's T as in Tuesday, ORLITAS. And over to Taylor.
hi, my name is Taylor Sandoval, owner of Taylor's Kitchen. We are located here in Albion, Michigan, where we do custom cakes for your special occasions, and we can be found at Sweet Spirit Treats on all social media platforms.
Excellent, excellent. So this is our 12th episode. So we've been at this every week since December, and we are excited that we have one of the, I guess, world-renowned bakers here, at least in the States. I know you've been international at one point or two. Yeah, I thought so. We have the wonderful Your Cake Diva, aka Porsha Kimble. Yay!
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you to both of you.
I
Yeah,
mean,
thank you
it was
for coming.
really big when you came back and said, yes, of course, when I sent you the email. It's like,
Oh, yeah. I'm in a place of yes right now in some things, in some areas of my life. So, sure.
Oh man. It was really like, it was like an aha moment. It was like my own home alone moment. It's like,
Yeah.
really? She wants to come on our podcast, but I really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule, knowing that, Texas has been in everywhere, in every living room.
Yeah.
Over this past week or so. But we want to thank you for taking the time out of your schedule, and hopefully that you and your family and your loved ones are safe and
Yes,
sound.
thank you. And thank you for asking me. This time last week, I was freezing with no heat. Water was off and on, electricity was off and on. My boyfriend's parents had stayed the night here.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's like, we're gonna
Maybe
leave that
that
for
was
you.
worse than the heat going out. I'm not sure. I doubt it though. I love them to death. They're great. So I have nothing.
Oh my goodness, you're funny. I'm sure they didn't mind either. And
No, they're great.
all right, is Steve okay?
He is
Check on him?
fine.
Okay.
I don't know where he is, but he's not
Oh.
here. I can tell you that.
That's so funny. I was looking at your Instagram page, and then I was like, Tamara, who is Steve? And she was like, Taylor, keep up, okay? Keep up.
I have a whole
keep up.
highlight tab that says that mom for people to keep up.
Yeah.
For Steve.
I watched literally all of them. I laughed from a good, healthy place. I needed that.
I don't really know where it came from, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't have any kids. I'm not married. I've never been married. But I think during COVID, well, in Texas, things started kind of getting back to normal several months ago. And I do have a corporate job. And so we don't have to go in every day, but at least twice a week. And so even where we're at, we don't have to dress up. But I kind of felt bummish. And that's kind of where it started, where I said I felt like a soccer mom, whose kid's not good in soccer, but I got to take them anyways. And that's why I was dressed like that. And it just kind of escalated from there. Steve, the name from Steve, I feel bad for the guy, Steve. But I am in HR, and I had to let a guy named Steve go.
Aw.
And that's the name that popped up to me at that time. So
That's funny. How do you balance everything? How do you balance being your cake diva and still having a corporate job?
I've always done both. I've never been one without the other. My mom used to say growing up, the Lord loves a hardworking woman. And so I just always, I think it also depends on how you grew up. I think, my mom is self-employed, so is my stepfather. And I'm just an organized person. I don't think people understand just how organized. I'm not organized to the point where I have like a ton of spreadsheets with highlight, like not quite that bad.
Yeah.
But I really feel like in order to be successful, you have to be 10 steps ahead. I've always been not 10, but 100 as much as I can be, because you never know what's going to happen. I'd rather be prepared. And I don't mean that in like a paranoia type of way, but I'm like, if this happens, I know I can do this. And I think that's what maybe the cake world is missing. Some people are so stuck on it being a certain way, but really you're a good cake decorator knows how to fix things or cover them up. And so just with my experience, that's kind of how it's been. And I think being organized, is really a big deal. I take my product very seriously. So in order to give people what they want, I can't be last minute. I can't provide the best that I can give someone if I wait till Thursday to bake everything and try to do it all. It doesn't work that way. It's not successful that way for me. So
yeah, that's a very good point. I often so being said, how far ahead do you ask for your cake orders?
I don't ask. I mean, you can't really predict when someone's going to ask you for something.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have all these stipulations, and really people don't read or don't care anyways. If I'm going to order a cake, I'm going to order a cake. So I don't know why people say I need 2 or 3 weeks. Do you really need 2 or 3 weeks? Because you really don't. I don't feel that way. I mean, we're not baking the cakes that early in advance. I understand if you're booked, just say you're booked. I mean, but I feel like that's almost scaring people and driving people away from you. I mean, you can put the inquiry and I can just simply say, hey, I just can't do it. And I would rather say, look, I've already got some orders, I can't do it. Sometimes people are flexible, but if you put a stop sign before they could even get to you,
Right.
they may not come back. So
That's a good point. It's
yeah.
always like well, for me, it's always different when I see like when people are like, "Hey, can you make me this cake?" And then it's like a pattern, like, "Can you make me a cake?" Like the day before, and then the next time they're like, "Can you make me a cake?" And it's like, "I know you knew 2 days ago you needed this cake, ma'am."
But I think those people are just trying you because that's people. All you have
Right.
to do is say no. I mean, you could
Right.
just say, no, that's just something I can't do.
Yeah.
And you could just say, maybe next. I tell people all the time, I don't get a lot of last minute. So I
Mhm.
think people just know. Every once in a while, people say, hey, can I get a cake this week? And if it's Monday, I'm like, sure, I just charge them more.
Right.
And some people, they're like, I want a shoe, I want all this stuff. And I'm like, look, due to the time constraints, and I will send a picture. This is what you can get in the time constraint. It's up to you if you're willing to take this. If not, that's fine. But I need to know by, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time today if this is what you want to do. If I don't hear from you, I'm going to assume that, you don't want it. And I just kind of leave it back on them. I'm not going to chase nobody.
Right. I think most of that comes from like from being seasoned and having like experience with
I
it,
don't. I
with,
think
with
it comes
people.
from people having a weakness and afraid of
Yeah.
saying no. We've got people who've been doing it for 15 years plus, and people are like, well, you've got people that have got kids that
Yeah.
are weaker with one child and stronger on the other, more
Oh,
strict.
don't
So
I
I don't
know?
really think it's about season. I think it's really about you just standing up for yourself.
Yeah, and valuing your time and what you need to do and knowing that you have things to do.
Look, I like money like the next person. But if I ain't got nothing to do, I'll do it if you're gonna pay for it.
Right.
But I also could really do it in a day if I've done a whole cake in a day if I've had to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What would be your average time that you can whip up a cake and make it like the wonderful wedding cake that you just did that I saw with, was it Rudy or someone? Girl, that was everything.
Hold on. You mean this one?
Oh, yes.
There it is.
That is
It
everything.
actually just took me 2 days.
Do you make your own flowers and everything too?
Absolutely not. I order them from Cal Java. I would never do that to myself or to anyone else. Why would you when you can just buy them?
And
Yeah.
what was you shout out so many great vendors, and I'm always trying to capture them. What was what you just said?
Cal Java, CALJAVA. They're caljava.com. You can go to their site and sign up for newsletters. They sell cake supplies. However, all the cake supplies, when you see these flowers, that's where they're getting them too. So they're just taking them, like the larger flowers you can only get 9 or 12, depending on the size that you need and the particular flower. It cost me about $400 to $500 in flower purchases just for this, because so many had to be made. Had to be bought, and then you have breakage and things like that. But I think what people don't understand is the cake supplies buying the exact same thing I did, and then they're selling it to you individually, a peony for $15, when really they paid $30 for 9 of them. That's what they're doing. But you can get them yourself. I got them at a wholesaler here in Dallas. That's where they get theirs too. And then that's where I bought them. And I just decided to go with briar roses and different types of roses. When I work with flowers, gum paste, or real, you really can't work with the same size. You have to work with various sizes to kind of make it all fit. I had covered the cake. Obviously, it's fake. I had done it in really 2 days, not 2 full days, but it doesn't take me long with fondant. I had originally not designed it this way with the flowers. First, I had just kind of put brooches everywhere, and then I felt like it looked like cockroaches. I reached out to someone. I was like, what do you think? And he was like, not so much. So I really reached out to a random follower on my Instagram page. His name is David. I don't know him, but and he does a lot of just hobby baking. And I thought he might be someone good to ask that doesn't know me. And so I
Yeah.
just reached out and I was like, David, what are you thinking? He was like, I do this and this, and that's exactly what I did. But the bride had a very healthy budget. You don't get that often. This is actually the most expensive cake. It's not the biggest, but due to the flowers and all the stuff that had to be done to it, it's the most expensive cake I've ever made.
Wow. So you made your model first and then the actual cake. Is that right?
She actually, no, this is it. This is what, it was all fake. That's what she paid for. And then I make real cake in the back. So in Texas, because it's hot, and they didn't take it home with them. I went right back and picked it up.
Really? That's crazy.
I do it all the time.
So what?
We didn't rent it. It's not a rent. I mean, I've rented cakes out.
Yeah.
But and I also give my clients the option a lot of times, like in Texas, because it is hot. Most of the tiers upward are fake because people don't like fondant, and that's fine. But I'll offer them the bottom because a 14-inch can feed 80 to 20, even though that's kind of a large range.
Right.
I'll tell people, depending on how they cut it, it can feed up to 80, 90 people. So most of the times weddings are between 100 and 125 or 100 and 150. So I will do a fake cake and do a round cake or sheet cake, whatever works for them in the back to cut up. And then of course with the groom's cake, I work my numbers as a combined number. I don't do it where, you need 100, 150 people. Let's do your wedding cake 150 and then a groom's cake 25. I do a combination. Let's do your cake to feed 100 and let's do the groom's cake to feed 50. So you get really, a healthy looking cake table. Yeah. That's kind of how I've always worked mine, and it just works. And I don't really ask them if they want the cake. If I go back and it's there, great. Sometimes I'll talk to someone that I know that's going to be there, a caterer, photographer. I'll leave a box underneath the table and be like, just put it in there. I'll come back and get it.
Well, that works out.
This was
the bride and the couple's happy. You're happy.
This was not getting left behind, child. Let me tell you.
Do you have like a wall of cakes that you have made?
I have this. I have another one that I just took apart, and then I've got 3 more just kind of up on the shelf. But I don't have like a wall.
Yeah.
Of stuff. I've got one that I was supposed to make for 50 cents with this new liquor that came out, and then COVID happened. So that's literally just been sitting there. And then I have a black one that I did for Labor Day for a wedding, and then the one I did for Christmas photo shoot. But I really just kind of break those down and reuse the foam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did my first fake cake. I did an open house last year, and it was like a 5-tier cake. And everybody was like, "Oh my goodness, why'd you bring that pretty cake?" I'm like, "It is fake."
I know, it's so strange that people would think that you would do all that.
Yeah.
To sit there in the open.
Yeah, so everybody can breathe on it.
Especially nowadays.
Right. Exactly.
Who's doing that?
Nobody.
Right.
That's what.
I have a question from my bestie. I told her I was going to speak with, be talking with you. And she was like, busted out like, "Oh my God, I can't believe it." I was like, I know. Your Home Alone moment, my Home Alone moment too. She is Dion with Dion Carroll Bakes, and she does have a question.
Okay.
She says, "Congratulations on your success as a new baker." She says she has many fails. What is one of your failed cakes and how did you recover? And I'll give you that one first, and she has another one.
Where do I start? I think people I feel like from the beginning of time, I've kind of always mentioned my failures because that's really what happens. I think early on we were with social media, people just saw perfection all the time from people, and that's not really the case. I couldn't even tell you how many failures I've had, and I don't know what failures mean to people. Does that mean fell apart on the scene or melted or a cake, a client calling you upset? One, that's going to happen is supposed to happen. That's how you learn. I would say one of my failures, not my biggest failure, but I had I had a customer that ordered a cake from her husband. Actually, it was several years ago this coming weekend, as I was going out of town to a cake show, and her husband was there. It was a cowboy themed cake. She had found it on Pinterest or Google or something at the time. And, we didn't have navy blue fondant back then. You had to make it. And even though it was dark, she felt like it wasn't true blue cowboy. So I dropped the cake off with her husband. He loved it. It was for him. He didn't have a problem with it. I'm an hour out of town and she calls and she's like, it is not true blue, this and this. And I think that's when I realized, it was a great cake. I mean, I purposely didn't mess it up or wasn't even messed up. That was the only thing. And that's when I realized that people will look at the smallest thing and take away everything else. And I also really felt like she did it because she just wanted her money back. She's like, I want my money back. I'm like, no, not for cowboy blue. I mean, how do you rationalize a refund for a color? $10? Because that's probably what the fondant, the stars cost me to make in blue food coloring.
Right. I really don't feel like people realize the amount that it takes to actually like make a cake, even with the fondant, the coloring, the sprinkles, and everything.
They don't care, and I don't think that they're supposed to. I mean, where's the empathy? We know if I want to go blonde, I'm not gonna probably get a true Nene Leakes blonde in one session. That takes multiple sessions. And I think that's the problem is people think, oh, it's going to be like that. No, there's layers to it. So I don't have a problem educating my clients. I think you have to be upfront. When I first started, it was all like, oh my God, I have to make it exact. That's where we were all at in the beginning. But now I feel like, one, I don't depend on my cake money to pay my bills. And even if I did, that's nobody's business. But it's what I'm choosing to take on and what I want to deal with, like a relationship. If I want to deal with this man, he got these problems, then that's my choice. But I can sense from a client, I think we all can get a sense of this bitch is going to be going to give me a problem. So let me just, you know what? I can't do it now, sis. I'm so sorry. I had one like that here recently. I had to just break that shit down. I was like, look, let me tell you the biggest thing you can tell people from your pinky to your thumb is 8 inches. You're wanting me to put all this stuff on 8 inches.
Oh.
And when I tell people on the phone, get your left hand, spread your fingers out and look from your pinky to your thumb. That's 8 inches. You're wanting me to put a name. You're wanting me to put this, all on that. And they're like, oh.
It's all about educating them.
And that's okay to do that. I think that's okay. Yeah.
All right. So I have a couple more questions, Taylor, and from Dion Carol Bakes, and then we can, I'll let you get into. So I'm going to put it in 2 ways. One, are you self-taught? And what you got in the second part of that is, how did you get into baking? What inspired you to bake? So we'll just wrap that into one question.
I actually took classes from Michael's first. I did the wilting classes. That's when they had first come out with fondant and everything. So I had taken all 4 of those courses. And then I took some more advanced classes here at a local cake supply store when the Food Network had the cake challenges. And that's kind of when classes started. So I didn't go to pastry schools, nothing like that. I learned that way. And then I traveled all over the US going to all these cake shows, learning from various people, and YouTube really wasn't out like that yet at the time. So I heavily educated myself. That's the first thing. The second thing is my grandma had cooked and baked. She worked at the cafeteria, at the school cafeteria that we all went to school at. So everyone looked at my grandma as the person, who cooked and baked. And, back then when somebody passed away or something happy had at the church and everybody would bring something. And my grandma was kind of the head honcho of that, She kind of told everybody what they was going to bring. And that's just what she did. She really gave her desserts as a gift to people. And I think that's kind of, I was in the kitchen with her and I enjoyed it. So I think that's just was already there.
Do you feel like you get a lot of your traits from your grandmother?
I think it's a mixture because my mom is a hairdresser and she always went and got educated. And so I think wanting to learn came from her and seeing her, go out. She was a single mom. So to be from a little town in West Texas to go to Chicago or New York once a year and her save up her money, to do that. I mean, that was exciting. When you're little, I think it's good to let your kids know it's okay to want to learn more or to be better. Mm-hmm. So I think I learned that part from her, and just being hardworking, and then the love of baking and maybe satisfying people in that way I got from my grandmother.
Okay. So you said that the city that you grew up in was like a really small town. Was it like less than 500 people small? Yes, or was it?
I graduated in my graduating senior class. I think there was 41 or 42 of us.
Really?
I was also the only Black student. I'm Black and Hispanic. I was the only biracial in elementary up to high school. So where I'm from, the junior high and high school are in one school. Mm-hmm. And so I remember the number 181 students combined with junior high and high school students the year I graduated.
From a small town like me.
little bitty. Those
are the most comforting places, because you can always go back to them. You can get that homey feel.
I don't know if that's how I felt being the only African American. I mean, it's different now. It's kind of funny. I mean, I never was treated differently, or, there was less than a handful of people that, said the N-word, or I didn't even know what that word meant. So, you know what I'm saying? Not knowing.
Yeah.
I think it was more difficult when I moved to Dallas, because it was like, what is this? It was such a culture shock.
Right.
I'd never been around Black people before. Even though my dad is Black, I don't really associate with his side of the family. So I didn't go to school with Black people. I mean, college was the first time I was really around a lot of African Americans, and it was uncomfortable for me. So
interesting.
I don't even know how that came off, but it's ironic to feel that way growing up. And then my audience is African American. So it's very parallel in that sense.
We had ours was a little bit different. It was always we always had foreign exchange students come from all over the world to our high school. So we always got to have different cultures of people and meet new people and different things like that. And it was not as much, I guess it's some racism, but it was always just from the next town over. So we just knew that when we were having a basketball game or something like that, it was going to be some tension. But aside from a sports thing, it was just we're going to stay on our little town. You stay in your little town and we'll be okay. But yeah, we were all cool aside from that.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you have mentioned Cake Wars, and can we say it? Can we say the network or no?
Yeah, you can. I'm not under contract.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think what people don't understand, it's the casting companies that cast it. You're on the Food Network, but it's not the Food Network that is looking.
Okay.
They have casting companies that look for people to participate.
So tell us about that experience. I know our audience wants to know, because I know they remember you from Cake Wars. You were the second runner-up?
I was. It wasn't a pleasant experience. I think you're just so excited and you're nervous because you don't know what to expect. Jeremy and I we had gotten a lot of advice prior, and I kind of took all that in, which was good, to have the expectations, as we knew there was going to be a sabotage along the way. Something was going to happen. Right. We just didn't know what. But I will say it was a good experience in the sense of going. I think the bad experience is they put you in a crappy hotel. They give you the leftover food that the staff ate. They should have been feeding us first, but it was kind of picked over. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't. I think Netflix, of course, there's some networks now, it's not like that anymore, but that's kind of how we got treated. It was just you're there to work, they're fucking with you the whole time, just to kind of mess with you. But I think Jeremy and I were just so strong-headed, and we both work really fast. Mm-hmm. So it didn't really bother us. We kind of already felt like we were ahead of that mentally.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely, I know it's a lot of behind the scenes things. that people just don't, talk about. But what would you say would be that golden nugget besides your platform that you have today, that you took away from there?
I think, I think someone had told me, and I thought this was stupid before. Hope heavens forbid, but I won't say her
You
name.
won't tell us.
She's like, you need to know your why. Why are you going? I'm like, girl, I'm trying to go be on TV like everybody else. Shit, that's what I was trying to do. But I think it was a personal, who doesn't want to first just be on television? It doesn't matter for what. It was just the fact that, I'm from a small town, and to be able to be on the Food Network to show people what I'm really doing, like you said, people think in some kind of way. That's what those shows show, in a sense of how long it takes and in a way and everything. But for me, it was just on my bucket list. I never would have thought in a million years I was going to be doing cake on television. So they actually called me. I did not apply. I've stated this before. I was invited to do it. I had several people refer me. So I did luck out on that. They had asked me about 3 times, and I had said no. The third time I was like, this needs to happen, because they were like, we're not going to call you again, girl. So I was like, okay. So I did it, and I'm glad I did it, though. It wasn't horrible. I think what's horrible is you're just tired. You don't know what to expect. So your brain is it's a lot of anxiety. But really, I didn't care if I won. As long as I wasn't last, first one out, that's all I cared about. I was like, I don't know, I can't get out first. That's not me. I'm very competitive. So I think what you have to understand is it's not fair going into beginning. Like my mom said, somebody's got to lose.
Right. Not
everybody is on there has the same level of experience. You may be the one that was chosen to lose. You just don't know. You just don't know yet, So go and have fun. Whatever you do, go and have fun. Don't do something that you've never done. I wasn't going to make Swiss meringue. That wasn't my thing. So I'm not going to do it. I know the judges like Swiss meringue, but that's not who Porsha is. And why would I try something new and then it fail and I don't know how to fix it? So I just stuck to what I knew.
So since the show, do you like making Swiss meringue now?
I don't make Swiss meringue.
That is you know what? I don't like it. I don't like it either. I don't like that you have to cook stuff and then add butter.
There's so many different ways. I think it's kind of like ganache. I'll make ganache. Some people are like, so easy, but some people just haven't tried it. So they're like, I don't like it. Swiss meringue, where I'm from, it's not for me. That's not what my customers like. I'm down in the South. I'm in Texas. There's probably other people that may use it, but it's not for me and my customers. And I'm okay with that. I don't have to do, I think that's what people don't understand is just because it works for somebody else don't mean it's going to work for me.
That's definitely true. Especially with baking cakes. And once people see the style of the things that you do, that's normally why they come to you, because they saw something that they like. It's not like they're just like,
I think so. You can be in an area and do something different. People will come to you for that.
So with with you baking now, how do you feel like, oh, let me ask you this. With your cake retreat, how did all of that come about?
So, when you start baking or you do the wilting classes, you just kind of know about Michael's. You just know about wilting. You don't know about anything else. And we had heard about this other cake supply store. So of course that was like a new Walmart, there's something besides the Michael's aisle or the cake supply aisle. So when my friend and I went to the cake supply store, we heard these ladies talking about these cake shows, and we were like, well, what is that? We didn't know that there was a world of cake available. And so they used to have these things in towns called days of sharing, where a group of people would put on a day of sharing, where you have multiple people come, to like a recreation center, and they would have raffles. It'd be like $40 or $50, and you would get breakfast, and people would just share, just demo. And as time went on, I realized there wasn't no Black people. We didn't barely see any Hispanics. There really wasn't no Black people. And then because I was the only Black one in my friend, they'd be like, hey, Porsha, it just became this thing. But we weren't afraid to go. We would just wanted to learn. But
Right.
I started to realize, where is everybody? Because I was teaching classes and there was nothing but African Americans. But then when we were going to other places, I'm like, either they don't know or they're not comfortable.
Right.
And one of the shows that I was doing, they had asked me to demonstrate. So when I contacted them the week of, they were like, we don't have room for you anymore. Why not?
Right.
And you know what? That was the light bulb that went off. I thought, it's not that they don't have room, they don't want to make room.
Right.
Ooh.
And I said, I'm just going to do it myself. I told my mom, I said, I'm just going to do my own. And she didn't think I was crazy, because I'm someone, if I'm going to do it, I do it.
Mm-hmm.
So she was like, well, I know you, so go for it. And I did. And here we are 5 years later,
That's awesome.
adding
So,
more and more people every year. So it's not been, it's been a lot,
mhm.
especially with COVID.
Yeah.
But it's just I think cake shows and competitions are becoming a dying art, because you can see it online, but I think people are forgetting about the connection,
Right.
and the things you can learn from the people there. You can't learn everything online. There's so many missing parts, and you don't know who you're going to link up with. There's people that I know that have been best friends. They go every year. They've traveled together to other things. And that's the part that that's what I wanted to give people, was a true connection. Like, I'm not going to just take this class and leave. And then what show do you know is like having a meet and greet where people can talk? There's not. And getting dressed up, we never get to go dressed up. We're always dropping it off to the dressy. Right. So I thought, and I come from a family that likes to party. So I'm like, we need food, we need music, we need alcohol, and we just want to have a good time. And those details came from me, and what I like in my life. So
That's awesome. I have
yeah.
I didn't know about your like cake retreat until like I think like last month, or yeah, like last month sometime. And then she was like, "Oh, Portia agreed to come on." I said, "Portia who?" And she's like, I was like, "The one that does the cake retreat." And she was like, I think so. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, "I'm going next year. I'm definitely
We
going."
hope that you do. Next year we are changing things around. I think a lot of people have been asking for hands-on activities, because we don't do separate classes. That's SoFlo's thing. That's not something I ever really wanted to get into. But next year, the ticket's going to include multiple hands-on activities on the first day. So everybody gets a chance to do something different and get their hands dirty, and kind of do a whole 360 of all types. Because it's not just cake, it's everything. It's anything dessert.
That's
Is
awesome.
that your girls trip? Is that the same?
That is going to be
Want to talk
in
about
New
that?
Orleans. Yes, it's going to be in New Orleans. It had to be in March this year. The hotel had given us that date when we had to cancel last year. So it is next month in New Orleans. In Las Vegas, but we're going to sell tickets mid-April. We only have 300 tickets to sell. Normally we've been able to sell as many as we want, but we're bringing it kind of back to the South, a little bit more intimate. The meet and greet that we typically have on Thursday, we are changing that to hands-on activities. So we'll have a morning session for people who like to get up, an afternoon session. We've got 10 great presenters. So we're kind of changing it. Fridays, a lot of demos, and Saturdays, more of a baking and business seminar. So we'll be able to get dressed up, like a brunch style, and have a good time. And who doesn't love New Orleans? You can't beat New Orleans.
And is that 2022?
Yes, it's 2022. It's the middle of June. So it starts on Thursday and it ends on Saturday. So it's going to be a good time this year. Next year, we're going to have vendors. We actually have a vendor hall, which we're really excited about. The vendors is not something that we typically have done every year. We don't, that doesn't drive us. That's not our thing, but we're excited. We've already got some vendors on board that didn't get to do this year that we're moving to next year. But your food is included, learning is included. It's really going to be a great time. I wanted just to completely change it up. So that's what I'm doing. So
Sweet.
Will be.
So what would be the first thing that you did to like get all this started? Like who, when you decided I wanted to do this, who was the first person you called to be like
The
how
first
do I
person
do
I
this?
called was Bronwyn Weber because I had taken her classes. I had traveled to take her classes. She's
Mhm.
here in Dallas. And she was like, sure. So I was like, okay. I was in shock. There was a few other people I reached out to that I will not name that said no. They were like, I don't know what that is. I don't even know why you're doing that. It was a
Yeah.
very negative response
Mhm.
to 2-3 years later, them asking me if they can come and do it. And they were like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, which I thought was great. I love that. The
Yeah.
petty in me was like,
No, we're
but
good over here. Thank you.
but when Carrie Vincent said she would do it, God rest her soul, when she said she would do it, that was a big deal for me because I
Mhm.
really looked up to Carrie, and to actually like call her and talk to her and get her feedback really let me know there was something for people, and the first one was here in Dallas. We only had like 60 people. Then we went to Atlanta and that number doubled. Then we went to New Orleans and it increased. And then what may sound even crazy, when the pandemic, I lost a lot of money. I mean, so I lost somebody's salary is what I did. But what's insane is people bought tickets. We sold more tickets during the pandemic
Everybody wanted
than
to
we
get out
did
of the house.
before the pandemic. I
Yeah.
mean, even though I had refunded all those, we actually had more people buy tickets. And I thought, this shit is crazy.
Everybody
And
feels trapped.
what people don't know, I talk about pricing. I don't make money off of this. I don't lose money, but I don't make money. And I
Mhm.
think people look at me like, oh, she's making all this money. No, I don't. I take people's money and it goes to where it goes to. Because if I didn't, it wouldn't look and be as successful as it is. I put it where it goes. I don't keep that. So at the end of it, if I make something, which I haven't, I'm being very transparent. Um, if you break even, that's great. I don't have to take any money out of my pocket. But to be in a pandemic and lose a lot of money and maybe actually, I think I might make some is,
Mind blowing.
yes, that's insane to me.
Yeah. A lot of I feel like a lot of people just feel like, man, I really need to get out of the house. I need to do something different. I've been stuck here for a whole year, like I need something.
Yeah, and we're doing everything we can. We can only have so many people with Nevada's mandate. We can only have a certain amount of people in the room. We can only seat 4 to 6 people at a table. Everyone has to wear their mask. We have sent out COVID waivers because I'm not trying to get sued to everyone attending, saying this, and this. There will be temperature checks prior to walking in per the hotel. So it's not like we're not doing our part. And if you know me,
Right.
and as blunt as I am, you're gonna get told something if you don't, because I told everyone in there, you have to wear it over your nose. I mean, this
Right.
is where we're at, and we got to separate people, and that's what's happening. So people are coming because they trust me,
Yeah.
and that's a lot on my shoulders. So I want to be safe too, and I want everybody to go home safe to their loved ones also.
That's good.
Girl,
It's
PK
nice.
don't play that. I don't play that shit.
Right.
I don't think you do.
Right. It's nice that
Definitely
you
don't.
put so much effort into building this for other people. A lot of people are just like, I'll do this for myself because I'm good at this. You know what I mean? But it's
Oh
good
yeah,
that
I
you.
mean, you see, and look, some people don't need training. Some people don't need it. I mean, you're never too good or too old to learn something. I
Right.
mean, I learned something from someone every time they're on the stage. I'm like,
Glad you said
wow,
that.
so I try to pick people that I watch them all year long. It's not a friend thing. Some of these people I don't even know. I've never even met, but I admire their work. I see how they present themselves, and I want that to be a reflection of what I bring to people. And that's why I choose the people that I choose. And, sometimes people just fall off. It's not anything personal, but we've got things in place that we need from them in exchange to be
Right.
there. And if they can't do it, that's okay. It may just
Mhm.
not be the right timing for you, or you missed a deadline, but I'm still running a business. And those are the things I need. So I can pay to make sure that you stay in your hotel and you're comfortable and that you eat under me.
Right.
So
I do have a question. So I know that some people out there in the audience I got one question from on a text here asking, do you provide one-on-one training
Yes.
aside from your classes at your events and things like that?
Yes.
Okay.
I do. And it's here in our home. I haven't done any I'm not doing any until after the retreat because I don't want to take the chance of getting sick. A lot of people are like, you don't have any dates in March. I gotta stay at home. I can't have somebody flying in and getting me sick now. So I'm just kind of it's gonna have to wait till April. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But I do
Open back
have
up in
them.
April.
Yeah, they'll be back up in April. People don't understand the retreat. It's a lot. You know, I don't get a lot of sleep and I wake up thinking of shit that I didn't think of the day before. So I have to have my mind clear and open for that. I mean, I'm one of those people, I'm like, okay, once I move past this, then I can go to this because I've already planned 2022. So
I was going to ask you, how far in advance do you kind of like have your calendar
a
set?
year and a half in advance.
And that's what all of your dates that you're gonna do, like.
Yeah, I already have the next 3 years dates.
How do you do that? Because I'm just over here like, yeah, I got next month figured out. Next couple of months.
Well, so what happened was, and a lot of people don't know this, when we canceled, well, when the hotel, we had to cancel the retreat, Caesars Entertainment, which is worldwide, they kind of said either you can cancel and we're going to keep all the money that you've already paid plus cancellation. It was a little over $100,000, or you can move it and sign a second year, but the second year could be anywhere under Caesars Entertainment. So of course, you know, I kind of felt like I made a deal with the devil because I was like, I ain't fixing to be in debt. I ain't even got no college debt. My mom paid for my school, so I ain't got no loans or nothing. So I was like, okay. So then they said, well, let's move it to March. You know, we didn't know this thing was going to go on as long as it has.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. So when we did the second year, I just thought, I don't know where we're going to do it. They kept saying, go to Tahoe. I was like, black people don't want to go up there, child. We're not going over there. So we had such a great time in New Orleans. I said, let's just go back to New Orleans. So I had kind of another deal. They had reached out New Orleans and said, hey, we'll get you out of this contract if you want to sign maybe 2 years. And I was like, you know what? It's getting harder to travel every year because I have to go. I don't know what I'm dealing with. So I thought maybe we just need to have it in New Orleans. And so I went, last week or 2 weeks ago, and I signed a deal with Harrah's Casino in New Orleans. So it'll be the middle of June every year. They're building the Four Seasons right now across. So we will be the first event in the Four Seasons in 2024. So 22 and 23 will be at Harrah's Casino. And I've already got that planned out for 2022. And then 24 will move over and it'll be able to be even larger.
It's awesome.
That is
I'm
awesome.
a businesswoman. I think people forget that even though you do cake, it's a business.
Yes,
and I really feel like people look at me like, oh, she makes cakes. No, I'm a whole businesswoman. I got 2 LLCs. I got 2 businesses. And I'm trying to capitalize and make something for us that we have not seen. No one else is doing it for African Americans or minorities or home bakers. SoFlo is an amazing show. I'm the biggest cheerleader for them. I love Natasha and Melanie. They've done awesome, you know, in that Miami international arena. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I'm not for that arena, but that wasn't my, you know, preface when I started it. It was, let me give people a chance who are great on social media that maybe can't do SoFlo or maybe can't do another show, you know, because whoever brings in money brings in money. That's just the way it works. But there's a lot of people who are just super talented and they want to and they can't. And so that's how this whole thing started. I wasn't able to demo that day and I didn't appreciate that. So I thought I'm just do my own platform and I can demo on it all day if I want to.
Yes, you can. And yes, you can. So I'm going to put on my business hat here for a second because I'm trying to let, you know, make sure all the bakers out there, all the treat makers out there get their jewels, so to speak. But I want to know more so about, do you have a team? Are you using a software or apps that keeps your business in check, like Trello, Java, or not Java,
No.
Canva, QuickBooks, or let me ask you this, do you funnel these things out, to help you keep your business going?
So my friend Ariel has a CPA. She was getting her master's. We started working together. So she does all my tax prep.
Mhm.
So it's a reason for us to get together and drink wine. And
Yeah.
so, I give her all of my receipts. She tax preps it, and then I send it to my accountant at the end of the year.
Mhm.
We are now doing QuickBooks. That's her thing. So we're using that. That's what we'll start using moving forward. So I send all that to somebody. I do have a team, but it's kind of weird because I really do everything on my own. And then I bring them in. So I think this past year when we did New Orleans, it was a wake-up call. I was like, okay, I'm doing all this by myself. And then when we get there, I'm trying to and tell everybody what we need to be doing. And that doesn't work anymore. So this year going on, I kind of put people in place. So Kendra's new to us. She's not a cake person. She's Mr. Rogers' good friend's wife, but she's still crafty. So she's handling all the attendees. Jerry has been with me from the beginning of time when we started. Celeste is my makeup artist and my friend, and she's doing it now. She's helping. So there's a good team now that, it's not all on me anymore. I still handle most of everything, the money and all this stuff, but we consult, we put a plan together. I may be the mastermind behind it, but I really couldn't pull it off without them because they help me when I'm like irrational and overly dramatic. And that happens quite often.
Well, as long as it gets done, right?
It's gonna get done. Yeah. And I think for me, I want to provide an experience. I make sure that everyone who volunteers, they better have a smile on their face. That's the first impression people get. If you look at them crazy, they're gonna feel some kind of way. And that's all under me. So ain't nobody throwing no hands, ain't nobody having no problems. We're not doing that. Just keep it moving. We're there to make people happy. We're there to make people feel good. Some people, they've never flown on a plane and this is their first time or away from their kids. And you want to make them feel that's what they're there for. And I appreciate them coming and trusting me for that. Yeah.
Awesome. You are a very well-rounded and nice person. I'm so happy that we got to do this interview.
I'm glad you think that because there's a lot of people that don't.
That's okay
too.
Well, that was my first impression, that's my first impression. So.
Well, I mean, look, you're not doing something right if you're not being talked about. I mean, I think at the beginning, I didn't understand where all these things were coming from. And, I was responding, rudely, not to be like my purpose was like, I'm going to be a bitch today. I was just, some people took it. I was just replying and they were like, oh, there was no fluff for people. And there's been times I don't, haven't had my best moments, but now, I mean, I've grown. Some people still dwell on the old Porsha, and that's fine. That's them harboring that. But if you don't allow people to grow, you can't grow. And I felt like I have done that. I'm not here to prove anything to anyone. I get my moments where people beat down on me. I'm human. I think, I'm a strong individual, but you don't know what else I've got going on over here that in my life that people don't know about. So when I get told, well, you're a Black woman and you're on a platform and you should be this, no, I should be me. Right. And there's not every day is great. And every day isn't perfect over here. And I'm not going to pretend that it is. I've been this way all my life. Very blunt, upfront. I had a student that didn't almost come to a class because she felt like I said something to her that day in a tone. And after the class, she came to me and she was like, after being in your class, I just see that's who you are. I was taking it personally.
Right.
Then I have become good friends. She has my phone number. I have supported her. Come to find out, the guy I moved up to Dallas for is her husband's cousin.
Oh my
Small world.
Right.
We've done a one-on-one. Like, I love Dee to death, but I think she was mature enough to be like, maybe it wasn't me. This is just who you are. I don't know you. How can I hurt somebody's feelings I don't know? But I also understand walking into, I think what people don't know about me is I don't look at myself any differently. So other people have put an expectation on me that I wasn't aware of. And so how can I win the game if I don't know the expectation? So when people say, you're supposed to be uplifting and you're supposed to do this, I'm like, I didn't know you put all that on. I didn't know you looked at me as Oprah.
Right.
That's just not happening over here. And
Yeah.
I kind of struggled with that here recently. You can walk into the light and you can consume all the power if you want to. There's people who will take it and they will use it. That's just not where I'm at right now in my life. Maybe at one point 2 years ago when things were really going for me, yes, that's just not where I'm at now. And I'm the only one that has to be okay with that.
Yeah, I really just think that makes you relatable. I think people probably do take your successes and what you do on a daily basis, like, oh, she's really, a professional. Here I am just starting out. My stuff is not that good. Maybe their personality doesn't support what their outward product is. And I think people come probably looking a little bit, maybe like, oh, I'm a little me, compared to what you are. You're like, girl, please,
But I don't look at myself like
whatever.
that. I think that's the thing. Now, don't get me wrong. I will pull up my Your Cake Diva like twice a year if I need to use it. Like I ain't doing that. I don't use it often because I do know what I want to be a part of when I don't. I don't look at myself as successful, but I don't look at myself as a failure. I just feel like I'm doing what everybody else is doing. I'm making a cake, whether it's this style or that. And maybe that's a struggle I have had for a long time is I'm like, I'm just doing what you're doing. I don't see the outside looking in of, oh, well, you're over here doing this. I just don't look at it like that. I just feel like I've gotten some great opportunities and I have maximized them. Some people have asked me now, well, why aren't you teaching cake classes online? I'm past that. For me, I'm past that. I'm not saying I'm too good for it. It's just not something I want to do. I did it for years. There's so many great people right now that are doing it. Go over there. It's just I'm out of that right now. I'm looking for something else. I don't know what that is, but that's just not in the place Porsha's at. Cake Diva's at. Cake Diva's not there right now.
Okay. All right.
So what do you feel like is the next couple of years you're going to be doing, like as far as a career? Do you feel like you're going to do more retreats, or how do you feel it's going to go?
The retreat is a year-long situation. I mean, there's no way I can pull off multiple retreats in a year. You know what I'm saying? That was hard. We had talked about going to Canada and doing one in the fall and one in the summer, and then COVID hit.
Oh, okay.
So that kind of was the thing. People tell me all the time, let's go Caribbean. I'm like, y'all don't want to pay the $500 right now.
Right.
Excuse me. Y'all don't want to pay that. Y'all want to go to Mexico? What y'all want to do? Y'all want to go to Jamaica? Y'all ain't paying this over here. So,
right.
I don't know. It's weird for my business. I think that far ahead, but for Porsha, I don't go that far.
Yeah. Kind of just let life take its time.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm a planner on certain things, but other things just don't do it. I think one thing I learned during COVID is I'm a very headstrong person and I was overthinking everything. But this time, once the retreat got rescheduled, I was like, hey, the cards are going to fall where they lay. And I can't control it. And I'm probably not as stressed as I have been in the past, even though that's crazy. The other part is I don't take the negative stuff and dwell on it. I'll do that later. I got a really bad call the other day. I used that to fuel me to fix what I needed to fix. And then I cried before I went to sleep. But other than that, I use it as fuel and you just got to keep it moving. I don't have time for that,
I tell my husband, I'm like, I'll cry in the shower. And once that water turns off, it's back to business.
And it takes I think what people don't know is it takes a lot for me, like a lot to put me in a place, even though some people probably feel online I'm impatient. No, I just want people to be accountable for what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
You really want to ask me that? Watch the whole video, you know?
Yeah.
Just watch it.
Okay, I have just a couple of questions for you,
Sure.
maybe one and a half.
Whatever you
I
need.
know that, okay, cool. So I'm a confectionery person. So I know that you started doing the cocoa bombs. And how much do you work with chocolate? Do you like working with chocolate? What's your favorite brand of chocolate?
I don't know enough.
Okay.
You know, the cocoa. So when COVID hit, like, okay, let me dig in my closet. I had a lot of chocolate molds or just molds, and I never used them because I'm not afraid. It was just one of those things that you say you might want to do, but you never do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, okay, first it was the cake sickles. I just wanted to get it down. Am I ever going to sell them? No, but I didn't care. I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
But that challenge made me want to do other things. So Merkins wasn't the best for me. I didn't care for that. I ended up using Guittard, I believe.
Yeah.
And that was fine for me. You know, I'm not a chocolate connoisseur. The cocoa bombs were hell. You know, it was something fun and cute. I was like,
I
oh,
can't
maybe
do
a
'em.
few
That's not for
people.
me.
I didn't know that all these Caucasians were going to come out that I never ordered from me when these bombs were their children's. And I was like, where y'all come from?
Right.
But that was it. You know, they look great after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
I already knew how hard it was to make small treats, but that really gave me personally more of an insight. Does it make me want to make other treats? Yeah, maybe just for little things, not like to go with the cake, or at least I feel a little bit more confident using chocolate. But if I want to give my customer maybe a gift, maybe I would do like a treat box and I would feel okay with that. I don't feel so like a wall up about chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Now, I love me some chocolate, honey, white chocolate and milk chocolate and dark chocolate
Yeah.
on all levels. But I really think I liked using dark chocolate and white chocolate. I love white chocolate. And I mean, to know I have a whole thing of color meal here,
Mm-hmm.
that is mind blowing to me that I even have that stuff. I like it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
Cool.
It was hell, but I enjoyed it.
Well, you know, sometimes you just got to try something different. I know I tried the breakable hearts, the smashable hearts.
I mean,
The first 3 failed. I want to do those. I want to do them. Are you doing? Are this the breakable ones, or you putting them together?
yeah, I mean, I'm not going to put it together because of this issue.
Mm-hmm.
But I did a few people. I just did it for a lady I worked with because she's got 2 small kids.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I posted it and ended up with several orders.
And that's how it works.
Yeah,
And that's how it works.
that's fine.
Are you using anything? You do the delivery? Are you using anything like Grubhub, Uber Eats, or anything like that
I'm
for your
not,
delivery?
just because, not that I don't want to, excuse me, I just haven't. Just because I do work and sometimes my schedule is unpredictable, you know, so I haven't gotten that far. But I mean, I have cake orders, you know, booked out right now. So, and that's fine. I'm okay with what I got going on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like I need to add another thing to my plate right now.
Yeah, I hear them. I hear you. I mean, you got a lot going on, and especially the lovely cakes that you do. I have one little wrap up question, but Taylor, did you have any other questions you'd like to ask?
When you do you do a lot of like color cakes? Like which colors do you use for your cake?
You mean like frosting colors?
Yeah, like do you prefer like the gel colors? Like which kind do you use?
I use powder and gel. This was the first time I really got into the powder gels, like the sugar art. You know, they have great colors to use if you don't have gel. It's a lot darker, it's brighter, you don't need as much. So this year I was able to use the Master Elite that you can use in your buttercream. You know, you activate it with liquid and you can put it in there. that was different for me because I'm used to the gels, but I use both. I mean, it really just depends. Sometimes the black gel just doesn't give it to me like I want, but with the Sugar Art, with the Master Elite, even though it's black, if you want it darker, trust me, by the time you start scraping and it's got that liquid, it's going to activate it and make it even darker. So I don't really have a love more than the other. I can appreciate both.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I had.
Well, I know I have learned a lot today from Porsha and the questions asked by Taylor, and just really getting a sense of, you know, who you are even more, Porsha. And I just really want to say thank you again. So how can people get in contact with you, ma'am?
I don't want them to.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
If they want to order a cake or go on one of your retreats, I mean,
you can go to the website. It's www.yourcakediva.com. So right now, the site's got a little bit for 2022, but you can't buy tickets yet. But like if you want to do a one-on-one, things like that, I do have check for dates because, you know, you never know what can pop up on my schedule. So other than that, that's it. That's where I've got everything. I got my new cake contract out that you can download and edit for your own. The original one, you couldn't do it, but now you can do whatever you want to with it.
Is that on your site also? I saw the email.
I did. I just put that out there today. And there's probably going to be some other things that I do to put out there to help people. I'm just trying to, I don't want to say reinvent. I think I'm just trying to find another way. I don't want to go back to the stuff I did before. That's not who I am. So I'm just kind of going with it.
Well, it sounds like you are going with it, and much success to you.
Thank you.
You know, I think that this won't probably be the first or last time that we talk. Maybe can we reach out to you in the future?
Sure, anytime.
Okay.
Anytime.
All right. Yeah. I really appreciate it. Do you have any questions for us as we
thank you both. Thank you both so much. I hope we get to talk again. If you have any questions for me about anything, please feel free to reach out.
All right, cool. Well, this concludes the latest podcast of Tamla and Taylor's Treat Talk Tuesday. Listen to us on anchor.fm. That's our audio podcast, or anywhere you listen to your podcast, really. Or check out our new YouTube page at Tamla and Taylor's Treat Talk Tuesday for our visual podcast. And also we have an Instagram page, a newly Instagram page. And that is what, Taylor? What's the address on there?
That is Tamla and Taylor's Treat Talk Tuesday.
Great. So, you know, we're at our humble beginnings, but I think we're growing, and I'm glad you were part of our growth, Porsha.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so very much.
Thank you both. Y'all have a good evening.
Same to you. And thanks for, hopefully it's not too late for you. Get some dinner.
No, you're fine.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye.